Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Players Take, episode 166. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host. He's the wielder of the Monado. Montrell, right?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man? We've got some Xenoblade news today to talk about. That's exciting. But before we get to that, how's life? How's life treating you?
That's all right. I'm seeing like a similar. You know how you work at jobs when you see a trend happening with like I don't know why this always happens in IT jobs, but I'm seeing it, and me and one of my coworkers are trying to stop it before it happens. So
Something
that's fun.
like the company's trying to do something, or management's trying to do something.
Management's trying to do something. It's and we're not too particularly fond of it because we kind of worked in that environment before. I mean, you worked in that type of environment before, and they're trying to make it like that, and we're like, this is not the type of environment to do that. So, we're gonna try to voice our opinions and see how that goes.
Hey, man, trying to convince management to do things is way harder than you would think, or convincing them not to do things. Sorry, when they decide to do something, it's like trying to turn a tidal wave around.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult, and it's annoying, to be honest. I think people would be more willing to listen, but whatever. I digress. Well, yeah, similar for me. Work's fun, same as always. I'm in the same boat, actually. It's more, I'm not trying to stop people from making bad decisions. It's more of the bad decisions already been made, and I'm trying to mitigate. I'm trying to mitigate the damage as much as possible, and it's hard. So, if you see me the next time you see me, and I have some gray hairs, you know why. All right. Well, let's jump right in this week. So, for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. Montrell, let's start, like we always do, with what we've been playing. Do you want to go first this week, or would you like me?
You can go first.
Okay. So same games for the most part. Lost Ark. There was a new update today that I am actually excited to jump into. They added a new continent and some new stuff for the game. I've been playing this game a lot lately. Again, I'm really into it. It's really got me for some reason. I don't know why. I just find it really fun to play. But I'm trying to get to the point where I'm like on daily mode with it, and it just never ends. The content is just, there's just so much to fucking do in this game. It is unbelievable, like how much shit there is. So I'm having trouble getting there. So I'm trying to like not play it every single day again. I'm just like trying to like, I started playing Horizon again on Tuesday. I've been really on and off with this game. I just can't. I can't make a decision on if I want to mainline the story or not, and I keep dithering around with this game, and I keep coming back to this thought that I really wish this game was just a linear action game, like
Really?
like Uncharted or The Last of Us. Like, yeah, dude, I'm not finding the open world that engaging. I'm just really not, and I'm doing it anyways though. I don't know why. I'm just like, it's like I'm like compelled to almost. I kind of want to get the platinum. That's part of the reason why. But the other reason is it's like, as much as I'm saying I'm not compelled by the open world, at the same time, when I'm out there running around doing stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, this is fairly enjoyable. It's just like, I don't know. But the thing is, the part of the game I'm really enraptured by is the story. And I just kind of want to, I just feel like it's wasteful to just mainline an open world game like this. I don't know. I don't play them that way, and I don't think they're intended to be played that way for the most part. So I'm not playing it that way. But at the same time, I find myself really not wanting to play sometimes. Like, I'll come home, I'll be thinking about it all day. I'll be at work and I'll be like, man, I'm going home tonight. I'm going to have like 6 hours and I'm going to play fucking Horizon the entire 6 hours. And then I get home and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to cook dinner, and that's an hour. And then I'm like, while I'm eating dinner, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch an episode of Breaking Bad. And then that turns into 2 episodes of Breaking Bad. And then all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock and I have like 3 hours left in my evening. And I'm like, man, am I really going to get much done in Horizon in 3 hours? And I'm like, honestly, I probably could actually get a lot done, but I'm like my brain is like addled and like can't get over this that for some reason, and then I'm like, yeah, and then I just get on Lost Ark for a couple hours and fuck around. It's like I don't know. I'm in this weird zone with it, and it's kind of a mental block because I'm like I want to play Stranger Paradise, but I don't want to leave Horizon behind. Because I just feel like if I get dragged into something else, I'm just gonna leave that game behind.
Okay.
And that's the reason I'm dragging ass on that one so much. So I I put about 6 hours in this week, the last 2 nights, and I really just I gotta put the time in and beat this game and put it away, and then not think about it and just leave it because I don't know. It's just weird. I keep talking about this game like it's horrible, but it's not. It's not horrible. It's just I feel really bad about it, because it's like a good game. It's really well
Nah,
made game, but
I think it's just
I don't know, dude.
I think it's just because it's an open world game. It's probably huge.
Yeah,
I
it
mean, I
is
haven't really
fucking
played it.
huge. That's my problem. It's too big. It's way too big. That's my point about it. I wish it was a linear action game that was 20 hours, you know? Like and
Hmm.
you take out all this fluff. It just feels bloated, Like I think that's my big problem with it. So,
Okay.
um I know every time I describe it too, I'm sure I'm pushing the game further back in your backlog. You're just like, yeah, it sounds about what I was thinking, and I don't want to play that. So,
Well, I'm just not in the headspace for another
I know.
open world
After
right
Elden
now.
Ring,
It's like
yeah.
this. Yeah, the way you're describing uh, Horizons, the way I was at the end of Elden Ring. I just start beeline it towards the ending, and I just wanted to beat it towards the end. So
Hmm.
it's not like it was a bad game or it's poorly designed. It's just I was ready. I was over it.
It's just
Like
too
I'm just
much,
done.
dude. I don't know. I think
Yeah,
we're just different as gamers now, which is ironic because I say this as somebody who's put 300 hours into Lost Ark. Like, I
that's
don't.
different. Like that's like jump in action. Like you jump
Yeah.
in, you get what you want to get out of it,
Yep.
and then you get
You do
out.
your
You know.
dailies, and well, that's the thing. The game is designed to be grinded too. Like that's the point of the game, right? It's an MMO.
Yeah.
It's intended to be played for a long time. Like Horizon isn't that game. Neither is Elden Ring. They're intended to be played, and you beat it, and you put it down, and you leave. But the thing is, with those kind of games, is like I just don't need the game to be 80 million hours. Like I don't need 80 hours out of it. I could have like I like Horizon, dude. Like Horizon, I'm like as much as I don't like some parts of Horizon 1, I like it better in terms of its structure because it's a 40 or 50 hour game to platinum,
Hmm.
if even that much. Like the open world's it's big enough. It's not like gargantuan though. This game is like gargantuan, dude. I'm like looking at the map and I think I'm at 30% completion or 35%, and I've put about 35 hours into the game. And I would say I've probably barely covered a third of the map so far. I still have like 66% of the map to go. And that's what's killing me. There's just so much, to it that it's just the pure volume is overwhelming. So I'm gonna keep pushing through that. If I really need to come up for air, I may start Stranger Paradise and start playing that. But um, I got to get through this because it's really holding me back from playing other games right now, and I need to.
Yeah, you sound exactly like me, Elden Ring. That's
Dude,
crazy. That's
it's what it is.
exactly how I
I've been
felt with
playing
Elden Ring.
Horizon for what 2 months almost,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
dude. Like
when I started playing Elden Ring, you were in the you just started your Horizon gameplay, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah, because I've had these phases with Horizon. Like I first started playing it and I played it for like 5 to 10 hours, and then I put it down for 2 weeks, and then I got really into it for like a week, and I
Hmm.
played like 20 hours of it. But then I got bored. I got a little burnt out on it, and I put it down for 2 weeks again, and then I picked it up yesterday again for the first time, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of into this again, and I put another 5 or 6 hours in. It's like, so yeah. I've been playing it too much. So, also been playing Fortnite still a little bit, not a ton. This is just more of it's one of our multiplayer games we're playing together with the group with the guys. So, still playing that. We did play Apex again on Sunday. I decided to jump in for a couple hours for the first time in 2 months, and um, it was good. It's fun. It was. I'm not. I was burnt out on Apex. Like that was the reality. You know.
I think that's what it is for me too.
Yeah.
We just need a break from other games. So
Yeah, and Brad was kind of getting all pissy about it. You know, he's like a fucking Apex fucking stan or some shit. And like he's getting all mad about it that he's like that we're not playing Apex with him. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to play it. I'm sorry, I didn't want to play it. The timing of Olympus coming back sucked for me because I really love that map, but I just didn't want to play the game, you know, this season. Like I just wasn't feeling it. And I played it, and you know, I'm not. I'm good. I think I'm gonna play it again. You know, like I'm past my burnout. I think so.
yeah, not to mention we were in that weird ass queue where it was like a lot of try hard. So you had a lot of people using hacks to look like they were good and everything like that. And then I didn't know the problem was that bad until I started seeing a whole bunch of like professional streamers complain about it and stuff like that. So
yeah, and then you start playing Fortnite. You start playing Fortnite, and it's like there's like we've run into one hacker probably in the time we've been playing it. Like like one or two maybe. It's like it's not anywhere near as bad. Apex is like a fucking epidemic of hackers. It's completely absurd. So they're letting it ruin their game, and it's really irritating that they don't do anything about it. You know. So like to me, it's so embarrassing that when I'm playing Lost Ark and I switch to Apex, I have to wait a few minutes for Lost Ark to fully close because Apex is running an older version of the easy anti-cheat program. You know, like that's pathetic. Like that's
and I'm pretty sure Apex is making way more money than Lost Ark right now.
Well, maybe. I mean, they might be making comparable money, but Apex is a competitive game. Your whole thing is that the game's fun factor comes from the fact that the competition. If the competition is compromised by hackers and cheaters, you've lost the plot of why your game is fun. Lost Ark, on the other hand, has PvP, but it is by no means the most important aspect of that game at all. Like, and they have probably better anti-cheat than fucking Apex does. Like, come on, dude. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, it's a fucking joke. So get your shit together, Respawn. It's ridiculous. Other than that, still playing Triangle Strategy as well, but just plugging away at it little by little, like 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. It's not really playing it that much right now. So yeah, that's all I've been playing. Montrell, what have you been up to?
So I finished the main story of Stranger in Paradise. So about to start grinding chaos mode. There's like a weird lull period between like chaos mode and like regular mode.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get through that because apparently like your advanced class, you have basic jobs, advanced jobs, and then I want to say expert jobs, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And you're capped at level 30 throughout the main playthrough. Then you have to fight like a orb or something like that, a monster, and that unlocks like for different classes and stuff like that, and that unlocks the level 99 version of the classes you want to progress in.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then on top of that, chaos mode. So chaos mode is level 300, or it goes all the way up until level 300. So it's a grind, and I like it because the game is fun and you can do different builds and stuff like that. But I put it down for a little bit, just for a little bit. So I found out how I can start balancing my games. So I'm gonna have like one action game rotation, two multiplayer games, like one with the boys, which is probably like Fortnite or Apex.
Yeah.
And then like one personal multiplayer game, which is League of Legends. Yeah. And then I'm gonna have like one RPG because I found out if I play like two action games back to back, I get the mechanics mixed up, and I can't. It's hard for me to switch back and forth. That's why I wasn't playing Stranger in Paradise, because I actually, from Elden Ring to Stranger in Paradise, I took a week and a half off because I need to get Elden Ring shit out my system. Like I was doing Elden Ring shit in Stranger in Paradise, and it wasn't working out for me.
Yeah.
So I had to unlearn all the memorizations of the buttons and everything like that, and everything of that nature. And then I jumped to Stranger in Paradise, and it was a better experience because it was literally ruining my experience. The way I was playing the game. So besides that, I've been playing. I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That's my RPG. And then I'm playing what do I have on there? I can't see it right
Fortnite.
now. My screen is Fortnite. Yeah, and I'm playing Fortnite. Nothing much to say about either one of those two games.
Well,
Um,
what's making you play Xenoblade? Is it just the fact that the
I
Xenoblade
need to
3
finish the story
you got to
before
beat it?
Xenoblade 3 comes out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you just pick up where you left off?
Yeah. I
And
memorized the story and everything.
okay.
So
I was gonna say, do you
I remember.
remember anything that was happening at the
Yeah, I
time?
remember everything that was happening.
Okay. Do you remember
The
how to
only thing
play?
that's the part I'm fighting like wild monsters right now and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to figure out how to play. That's it.
Mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was
I'm
thinking
at
about
the
the
I'm
same
at the part where
thing.
you unlock
Yeah.
more mechanics.
Yeah.
So it's like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing, playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again, like doing a new game plus playthrough. Because I want to kind of be fresh for 3, but I don't think I'm gonna have time now that the news came out this week on that game. So 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 yeah, but that's fun. How far are you in it? Do you think you have much to go? Like, or were you pretty deep in?
so I know I'm like 40 hours in, 40 or 50 hours in, but I remember from what I learned, I just unlocked a new mechanic. And I can't remember what that new mechanic was. I remember that's when I kind of put it down because a lot of stuff was happening at that time when I was playing it. Um, but I know I just got done with like it's like a city in the clouds. I can't remember the name of the city. But right now I'm just
I
farming
see. So
monsters.
yeah, you're on the 5th continent.
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so man, you've got a lot to go. Yeah,
yeah.
you got a lot to go. You might be halfway, maybe.
Maybe. Holy shit! I know
Yeah.
DLC came out for it too.
Well, I'm not including the DLC. I'm trying to remember exactly the structure of the story because you go to every continent in the game first, and then a bunch of shit happens, and the game like jumps around a lot at that point. But
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. I really think, yeah, that was probably around the halfway point. So you got a lot to go. But once you get off the exploration side of the continents, like the game picks up really quickly, though.
okay.
The story does. So you'll probably not feel those hours quite as much. So yeah,
That's
cool,
good to know.
cool. All right, Montrell, let's move on to the news. First story this week is everybody's boy, Sean Murray. I'm sure you all remember him. No Man's Skies director. The man who overhyped that game publicly and pretty much caused the situation with launch with that game. Well, he's at it again, and he has learned nothing. So he was out and about. He was talking to IGN in an interview, and he was talking about the new game they're working on, and he said they're working on something pretty ambitious, is how he described it. And this is the quote that kills me. Quote, similar to No Man's Sky, it's the kind of project that even if we had 1,000 people working on it, it'd still seem impossible. End quote. Like, dude, this guy's got away with hype, because man, I don't
What's
get it.
that guy's name who did Fable?
Peter Molyneux? Yeah.
Yeah, that's who he is. He's a new age Peter Molyneux. Because Peter Molyneux used to do that shit with Fable. He used to
Yeah.
hype the fuck out of
Yeah.
Fable.
Yeah, but Molyneux eventually ran out of road. He like stopped making good games. He couldn't back up his talk anymore at all.
Yeah.
And so Sean Murray hasn't done that, but he's also on a short leash with this. Like people are already wary of this guy as it stands for good reason. But No Man's Sky, from everything I've heard, has turned into a phenomenal game. They have released
Oh yeah.
tons of free updates for years now and have totally made this game super robust. It's like more than what he promised before release, from what I understand.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No, dude. Yeah, I saw that they had a new update. That's why he was running around doing interviews. There was a new update for the game, and it seems crazy.
Bro, it's legitimately like it's like it's almost like what Star Citizen is trying to be. Like you can be anything in that game. Like you can just do anything you want to, and you're fighting pirates and you're shooting around and going around flying and everything like that. You go on a planet, you have a mech and all that shit. Like it's crazy.
They added like some sort of like heist thing or something, missions or something like that.
Yeah, man. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, like there's like a whole ecosystem of NPCs and stuff now too. Like there's like different, there's like they're actually space battles and stuff. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, it's
yeah.
crazy, and they got the procedurally generated shit down, so
Hmm.
like it's really robust now. You can
Yeah,
make space stations and shit on whole planets that people probably never find, and everything
yeah,
is crazy, man.
yeah, yeah. But that's the thing. You think you would have learned his lesson, dude? You know, right? Like with this, like I don't know, but
I,
it's his first time
maybe,
talking about. It's his first time talking about it, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But he's got to be careful with this, you know.
yeah.
Because I mean, he spent years selling a false bill of goods with No Man's Sky, you know. Um, so that shit was wild, but we'll see what he comes out with. All right, Montreal. Let's move on to our next story. This one, not great. So this has been making the rounds. I don't know where this originated from, but there was a report about Xbox thinking about adding advertisements to their free to play games. And then today, a similar report has been floating around about PlayStation that they are also thinking about adding in-game ads to games. So this is for both companies. Reportedly, is centered mainly on free-to-play titles. Like they're not thinking of adding this to premium games, at least at this point. But it will be things like billboards, you know, in games that have billboards,
Oh, okay. I mean,
things like
they,
that. Not like an actual thing interrupting your gameplay necessarily. But I mean, to be fair, we've had this kind of stuff in games with like Madden and FIFA.
I,
I'm
w-
pretty sure, right?
I was just gonna say that, like, maybe I'm old. I don't know why this is news because
Yeah.
even I remember way back in the day,
Hmm.
either Tekken 4 or Tekken, I think it was Tekken 4 or Tekken Tag 2 or something like that.
Hmm.
Whichever one was on the PS2, PS3 rather, PS3. They had Church's Chicken ads in the back. And I remember,
Yeah,
yeah, that was the exact reaction me and my friend had. I was like, yo, is
that's
that Church's
hilarious.
Chicken?
Dude,
And
that's
it's like,
fucking funny,
yeah.
dude. Well, it's just a
So
random brand to be advertising in a video game, dude. Like what?
exactly. I mean,
Uh,
this has been a part of video games forever. I mean, fucking Final Fantasy 15 had the whole cup noodle ad.
oh yeah, I
It
do
was a
remember
whole
that.
thing about cup noodles,
It's
and
true.
they had
Yeah,
the
we have
actual
had this stuff.
advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then even in Final Fantasy 15 again, the car that you're driving in was designed by BMW, I think,
I think it was an
or was it
Audi.
Rolls Royce,
It was
or was
Audi,
Audi? Okay,
wasn't it?
Audi. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Which they then put in
So
Final Fantasy 14 as a mount
exactly. So,
later. So
I mean, and then even non-racing games like racing games have had ads and everything like that. And I think it was like acceptable too at the time because we were like, oh man, this is like getting close to realism. Like I've seen ads in a billboard for Gillette, like it was like that, right? So
yeah.
uh I don't think it's a bad thing, as long as it's not like, when we're waiting in the lobby and an ad pops up like, hey, you guys, how an ad pops up and on
You're in
YouTube or
the
something like that.
Oh no, you're in the match. Don't give him ideas. You're in the matchmaking queue and an ad pops up.
Yeah,
Hey,
and they
hey
somehow found
man,
out you're like
are you
30.
having trouble
They,
with your sensitive areas? Try Manscaped, or some shit like that. Oh my god, no.
yeah, or like they find out like we're in our 30s and shit like that. Like,
Mhm.
now that you reach your 30s, you may be thinking about the end, and you want to maybe leave your loved ones with something to give. And you're like, what the
Damn, dude,
fuck? Like,
that's
dude, what
dark,
the
man.
fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
so
Do you have a
I
will?
think
Are you 30? Do you have a will? Try TurboTax. We have a will. They make will software for sure. So,
like, can you
uh,
imagine being like your Fortnite
yeah,
queue or something like that, and you're just waiting for that shit to happen? Like, that shit
or
would be
like Game
crazy.
Fuel or something like that. Well,
Yeah.
no, I will say, let's not be too hands off here. That part of this is they did say going a little deeper here that beyond things like billboards, um, there may be some kind of ad way to watch ads to earn some like skins in game or something like that, or maybe
Oh,
currency.
cell phone
So
games already do that. That's crazy.
yes, exactly. Which that's part of the report actually is that that's the inspiration. So I do know mobile games do this, like gotcha games for sure. You can there are some where there's a menu you can go into in these games where you watch a couple ads every day, like daily, and they'll give you in-game currency, like the premium currency for the game, just like a
Yeah.
little tiny bit of it, but
Yep.
added up over time, it ends up being a decent amount. But it's like, yeah, it's shit like that. So I don't know. I'm not super into that. The billboard stuff I care less about. It just is like, I mean, who cares, dude? As long as it's not in your face, It's almost like like the Final Fantasy 15 thing is like so goofy with Cup Noodle that it's like literally funny, to a point that it's just like kind of funny. Stuff like billboards in like a racing game or GTA or the shit in Madden and FIFA is like so like it's unobtrusive. Honestly, you can almost argue it is maybe a little bit more immersive because you're getting real shit in these games, like real brands.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's why I thought it was like acceptable.
yeah,
Because like in Tekken, right? You're fighting in the streets,
hmm
and so it's cool to see like a Nike ad or in this case a Church's Chicken ad.
hmm
Outside the stadium or whatever you're fighting at, or when you're driving in like Project Gotham Racing. Because I remember Project Gotham Racing on the Xbox, the original Xbox, had ads in it, but it
yeah,
was billboard ads, and I thought it was really cool. As I'm riding around London and I'm seeing Adidas fucking ads everywhere, or
yeah,
playing Midnight Club and seeing shit like that or whatever.
hmm
So I mean, I thought it was. I think it's really cool.
yeah,
If it's done in a cute way, like the cup noodle shit or whatever. Um, or in my opinion, right?
yeah,
Call of Duty, especially Call of Duty 4. Uh, so they just can't add guns to games. All
yeah,
these guns are licensed products,
yeah,
and that's advertising.
hmm
Even when you're putting on like a holographic site for your gun in Call of Duty 4, I remember it had the L3 Communications logo there because that's or L3 Industries rather,
hmm
because those are the people who manufacture bread dots and hollow sites and stuff like that. And
But see, that's actually cool though. I kind of like that in the sense that like, dude, you're getting like real weapons and real stuff in the game. Like
yeah,
that's actual things that are in real life. Like I actually
yeah,
find
because I
that cool. Like, so I don't have a problem with that as much.
yeah, it was cool because I mean, so I didn't buy my first weapon until I was when did Call of Duty 4 came out? 2007. So like maybe 2 or 3 years after that.
Yeah.
Um, so I didn't really know, the gun types and everything. I mean, I had my only gun I was handling at the time was my father's hunting rifle because we used to go hunting all the time, and that's pretty much it. And obviously, I wasn't old enough to buy guns until I was like 18. Um, but I remember like one of my ex girlfriends, she used to work for L3 Communications. Like she was on the assembly line for the hollow sites and stuff like that. And she
Yeah.
saw me playing Call of Duty 4, and I aimed down sights or whatever, and it showed the thing. She's like, "Oh man, that's the hollow sight, blah 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 that I make." And I'm
hmm
like, "What?" And she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, no, that's a real hollow sight. Like that's L3 is the company I work for." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's cool." So like, I mean, gun companies have been doing this, or video game companies have been doing this for a while. Even car companies, obviously, they got
Right.
to have the licensing
Right.
for stuff like that. That's why in GTA you have like random cars named the Patriot or whatever the fuck because they don't want to go through the time and spend the time going through and getting the licensing, which is like a double-ended thing because you get the licensing for those cars, and then in turn the people are advertising those cars through those games. You're advertising
Yeah.
through millions of users.
Yeah.
Like there are millions of car enthusiasts who wants a Dodge Viper, including myself. I didn't want a Dodge Viper until I played fucking Midnight Club, or was it Need for Speed or Midnight Club? It was one of those games, and I saw a Dodge Viper, and I was like, "Yo, this is my dream car. I want a fucking Dodge Viper when I get older, and I'm still
Dude,
gonna
I
fucking
was
get
like
it."
that with Need for Speed Underground. The game had the Mazda RX-7 in it, and
Yeah, ooh, that's a nice car.
I fucking dude, that was my main car in that game. At the end of the game, like it was one of the final
Mhm.
cars you could get, and it
Yeah.
was objectively the best car in the game. But it was also sexy as fuck in the game too, So I was like,
Yeah.
I always wanted one of those, and I was, like it's funny because that's around the time they just discontinued that whole line actually,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they did the RX-8 after that, and that thing looks like I fucking hate the design on that car. And then they never made another one of those, as far as I know. So after that,
Yeah, I think Alex Dennison. I think they rebranded it.
yeah,
Maybe I did find it. So,
okay,
man, it was gonna be a cool podcast to get Dennison on. But we just kind of floated into this conversation.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I know a lot of young gamers are probably like, oh my god, ads, and I'm tired of ads because they're thinking like the Hulu ads or like the YouTube ads, and it's like, man, they ads
yeah.
unfortunately have been a light and a dark side of gaming. Like there's a right way to do it and there's a bad way to do it, and I don't know.
I don't think they're
Even in
gonna
like,
interrupt your gameplay with advertisements, right? Like
yeah, I don't think so either.
that's a line that I think game companies, even the schemiest of developers, understand that you're not gonna cross that threshold.
Yeah, because
Um,
even 2K and Madden don't do that shit, and those are
yeah,
like to me
the
the
worst of
top
the worst,
skeeviest.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
right. So it's like, dude, like, cause yeah, they have a picture in the article I'm looking at of Battlefield. Like they apparently had ads in their game, but it was just billboards. Like it was like it's a Logitech ad and it says future of performance. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it's just like window dressing. Like, am I actually who's gonna this is what I don't understand from Logitech's angle. Like, do they really think anyone's gonna see that in their game and be like, oh yeah, I should go look at Logitech products today? It's like, no. Like
I think it's subliminal
it's just
marketing,
like,
right?
yeah, I know. It's the subconscious. Like
Yeah,
you want your brand in people's brains when they think about something they need to go buy, right? Like I need a mouse.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
need a gaming mouse. Oh yeah, Logitech. That's like the first one you think of, right? That's
yep.
what they want.
Hmm.
I understand. That's like the point of it, but I don't know. I just don't find it that effective generally. But
Well, I think it works in different ways. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It just works in different ways for certain people. Certain people that who, if you're not a mouse and keyboard type person, like we are on PC, so we know that there's other brands besides Logitech, right? But let's say you're getting to your
right.
first, or you're just a casual person, you're like, yeah, I'll just get Logitech. I mean, I know it's a decent brand. I see it everywhere, and obviously they have the money for it, and they wouldn't be making shitty products. They wouldn't be in business. This is the brain, consumer brain, like me talking when I get into other stuff that I really don't know about. I'm like, I see it everywhere, so I might as well get that because they wouldn't have the money to keep making that type of product if it was bad and advertising it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it may be like a mediocre product or whatever, but at least it's a starting point or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what advertisements really target, and then some of them really do get me, like the RX Racer chairs you see all the streamers have. Like, not only are those good chairs, but I didn't know those chairs existed until streamers start, sitting in those chairs. Like, I never knew there was like gaming chairs before streamers came into the fold. Like, I was still using like a lazy boy recliner as my gaming chair for a while when I was in Detroit and stuff like that. So yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't have a huge problem with this either. I don't think this is like a controversy right now. Until somebody does it in a really ugly way, I'm not like concerned about this in games. Like it's whatever.
And one more take. I would rather developers do this if they can offshoot the money from like microtransactions to ads. I'd rather them do this than microtransactions.
Yeah, well, I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying?
I just don't think that's going to happen. We're going to get both.
I know.
They've already opened the Pandora's box. They know how lucrative it is. They're not going to give that up, So
yeah,
it's all about generating more revenue, right? So, all right, Montrell, let's move on. This is the most exciting story of the week by far. It's like not even close. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got a new trailer this week. And then Nintendo did something that rarely happens in video games. They announced a new date for the game, and it's actually closer than the original date they gave us. They moved the game up, not backwards. This is not a delay. It's an advancement. The game's coming out sooner than it was originally intended to. So July 29th is the new date. And the trailer also showed some interesting gameplay mechanics that are not firsts for RPGs by any stretch. However, there particularly one is rarely utilized and hard to pull off, and that is the game is going to let you have up to 7 active party members at a time, and I assume that is probably the entire game's party. There will probably be no one on the sidelines. So
that's insane.
also showed characters fusing together and making
Mm-hmm.
this like I forget what they were calling it, but some kind of mechanized like they go
I know
into
they called it. I know they called it Blades in fucking two.
Xenoblade 2, that's right. Yeah, so they've
Yeah.
already done this in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but they didn't call anybody a blade, so this is kind of a different system, it seems like, or maybe a different piece of lore within the Xenoblade universe. So
All
we'll
right.
find out more about it. But yeah, Montrell, speak to me. How excited are you for this game now?
First of all, dummy excited.
Yeah.
Like dummy thick, like dummy excited. Uh
Yeah.
like if that was a term, yo, it would be like dummy thick, dummy excited because what the fuck? Like I saw, and the crazy thing about it is no one. I mean, it kind of had a little buzz on Twitter, but like only the Xenoblade fans like me and you were going crazy over it, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone else was like, "Oh, Xenoblade, snore," and it was one guy like me and him joke around all the time because he likes Cyberpunk. And he said that I'm like, "Bro, you like Cyberpunk? Like,
Yeah.
don't
Like
start.
shut up.
Like, don't."
You have bad
Yeah.
taste. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Xenoblade is one of those sleeper RPGs that actually sells really well. Like probably sells Final Fantasy numbers, but like no one really gives it a chance because it's not. I mean, people give it a chance, but since it's not, the latest SMT5 or
Mhm.
Final Fantasy or fucking
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts, like everyone doesn't care for some reason until the game comes out and everyone's like, "Oh shit, yeah, this game's out. I'm about to buy it," and it sells really fucking well.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest shit. I never understand Xenoblade Chronicles like sales numbers and
I
how
mean,
well it
it
does
doesn't
because no one
sell.
talks about it.
It's not that crazy. It's not Final Fantasy numbers, definitely, but it's probably closer to Persona, I'd say. Like
But
Atlas
even
numbers.
Persona, people
I
don't
know
talk about it. Like,
Persona is like you think Persona is the biggest Japanese franchise out there with the way it's
yeah,
covered and talked about on Twitter. But in terms of sales numbers, it's not that fucking crazy. But yeah, Xenoblade frustrates me because it should be bigger than it is.
yes,
It's
I
so
100%
it's
agree.
so frustrating because it's better than all of the games you guys play. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it. I don't give a shit what game you play. Xenoblade is probably better than it. Like period. I don't care what genre you're talking about. I know comparing genres is shaky territory, but it doesn't matter. I'm talking quality of game, enjoyment factor. Like Xenoblade is just
Well, did you
way
just see
up
the
there.
gameplay, bro?
Yeah.
It's like and to say it's like an MMO offline is doing it a disservice.
Mhm.
It's so much more than that.
Yeah.
But like people are like, "Oh, you can auto attack like an MMO." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that's
MMOs wish
true."
they had gameplay this good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's all I can think of, bro. When I was
Yeah.
watching the gameplay and I saw
Mhm.
7 people, I'm like, "Yo, this is a fucking Xenoblade raid. Like, what if you
Yeah,
could
dude,
play
it's
this
like a
shit
Final Fantasy
online?"
14 duty, but you're just running
Yeah.
around in an open world. Yeah.
Yeah, what if that's Nintendo's plan for this franchise? Like, we're gonna
Yeah.
make an MMO out this shit. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about too. So about the actual trailer itself, right? Uh the trailer, the art style looked a little different from the other I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
But the art style looked a little bit different. It looked almost SMT-ish, if that makes
Mhm.
any sense.
Yeah.
Um, and on top of that,
Yeah, the designs
it
are a
looked
little bit more I almost say
more persona-ish,
more
right?
gross. Yeah, which is more persona-ish. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing is the feel and the art style of the trailer and like the monsters and the environments and I guess it's not art style, but I don't know what other kind of word I can use, but like just the theme of the game,
Yeah.
it really, really screamed to me Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like when I saw those mechs and shit, I was
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, are they
Well, they're
trying to
setting this
set
up.
up?"
Yeah, dude. They're definitely setting this up. It makes dude, I don't put anything past them at this point. You haven't finished Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so I don't want to get too spoiler here, but there is a link between the worlds. Like literal. It's like a canon thing. It's a
Yeah,
very small thing that they established, but it's established. And I'm really curious what they're going to do with it because I'm pretty sure this is the final game in this like trilogy they're doing. So I'm like really
where
intrigued
where
by
do
the
you where
story
do you
with
think
this.
X falls in? I think X is like after 3. That's what I think,
Well,
and they're
okay.
they're in the stars.
Xenoblade Chronicles 1, at the end of the game, right? There's a point. Actually, you never beat 1 either, did you? You never actually
I
got
did.
all the way.
I
Oh, you
did beat.
did.
I
Okay.
did beat.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you remember the point. So the game has a point where Alvis has is shown in like a flashback setting where he's in a real world, like he's like floating around a space station around Earth, and he does something, and then it kind of implies that the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 was created from that event.
Mm.
And so I don't know what I don't like. The thing is, they've never gone too deep with this. Is Xenoblade Chronicles X's world tied to that same universe where Alvis did that? You know, because
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Xenoblade Chronicles X takes place in our world, like our universe, because you come from Earth. Like the characters come from Earth and come to a new planet because Earth was invaded by aliens and like destroyed, basically.
Yeah.
That's the premise for the whole game, basically. So, but it's not expanded upon at all. It's really all just speculation. So it's like there are these little things you could maybe link together, but there is a literal link between Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2 as well. So they've already established that that's a thing with this universe. So I'm like, how connected is all of it? And are they going to get really into it in this game? Like, is there going to be some kind of dimensional fucking shit happening? You know, like, bro, if there's a point in this game where Shulk like shows up, I'm fucking losing it, dude. I am losing it. My wife is gonna be like, "Are you okay?" Like, I'm gonna be screaming, like hollering, dude. Like that's how like you said, dummy hype. Like, so I'm just like, I don't know, dude. I'm like, I don't want to get too. I don't even want to think about it too much. I kind of want this game to just show up, and I just want to play it. Like, that's it. That's it. I don't
Well, it
like.
looks like you're gonna get to play it. 2-3 months from now.
I know,
This
man.
definitely puts a hamper into everything that we have planned
I
for the
know,
summer.
because dude, it comes out around Sunbreak now. I think, right? Dude, Sunbreak's coming out that month.
Sunbreaks come out a month before that.
Oh, is it June? Is it late June? Okay.
It's late June.
Fuck. God,
That's still not enough time. You already know how we go.
There's only 2 months till Sunbreak, dude. We're fucked, dude. I'm fucked. I thought I had things under control, dude. Lost Ark is killing me, bro. I gotta do something. Lost Ark and Horizon are killing me. I gotta beat Horizon, dude. I need to beat it. Like, I just gotta.
Yeah, I think you just need to steamroll it, bro.
Because I got like 6 other games I need to play, dude. Like Stranger of Paradise, Elden Ring. I want to play Kirby. I got fucking Dying Light 2 at some point sitting over there. Fucking Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. The Star Wars game.
Kirby.
Dude, I haven't played any of those. You know, like, so I'm still stuck on like February shit right now. It's fucking crazy, dude. Man, this year is nuts.
Yeah, this is a great year for gamer.
Yeah, man, we're eating good right now. So yeah, as much as I'm happy that this game is coming out sooner, it does throw a wrench in things because I was really banking on the summer to be like clear for the most part, and now it's not. Now I've got 2 games that I'm absolutely playing day one, you know, that they come out, and I'm like, fuck, you know. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, the good thing is Sunbreak's always going to be there, so we can always hold out on that. Our friends are probably not going to buy it until we buy it, so we can always hold out on that shit.
True. But you think, dude, okay. Montrell, let's just be honest with ourselves for a second. I know we're getting derailed from Xenoblade real quick, but let's just be honest with ourselves, okay? We can sit here on this podcast and otherwise, you know, outside when we're hanging out, all we want, saying we're gonna wait on Sunbreak. You know what, guys? We're not getting it on day one. We're not getting it on day one. And then day one comes, and maybe we last that night. We're okay, you know. But then you start seeing gameplay clips. You start seeing everybody on Twitter raving about this game, man. They're fighting Valstrax and fucking Sunbreak, you know. I'm like, fucking, you get fucking all these monsters that you want to fight and shit. And you start seeing the new shit, new monsters, new moves and shit. New weapons. You really think we're gonna be able to last?
Yeah.
You really think so?
You're making a good point.
No,
I'm gonna have to last though, man. I'm gonna have to last though, because I can't play now. I can't play Monster Hunter without you. Like, you're a staple in my Monster Hunter world now.
That's nice, man.
So I can't play it. So if you're gonna be playing,
you know,
Xenoblade
you didn't
Chronicles,
enjoy Rise as much without me, man.
I didn't.
You blasted through that shit without me, you know.
I think that's why I hated it so much.
And then we caught up to you and passed you, and then you came back and you were like, fuck, you know, like it just didn't feel right, you know. So
yeah.
All right, we'll figure that out. But back to Xenoblade real quick here. just to finish this topic up. Yeah, so 7/29. It's about a month and a half sooner. What do you think this says though about the way Nintendo does their schedule? Because
I
obviously,
don't
this indicates
I
that the
honestly don't think it
game.
has nothing to do with Nintendo. I think this is all
Yeah.
Monolith Soft, man. I think they
Okay.
just have their shit together.
Yeah.
Like
You
they're
think
like,
you think
fuck it,
so?
move
Because
it.
I'm hearing or I'm seeing a lot of speculation that this is Nintendo moving things around in their schedule. And honestly, when you look at it, it actually kind of makes sense. And people are wondering, is a game going to get delayed, like Strikers or something,
Mm,
out of its window? Because, but it also indicates though that, like you said, Molotov has their shit together. Clearly, Nintendo is confident enough that this game will be ready for this new date. Otherwise, they wouldn't have moved it up.
yeah,
So that kind of indicates that those last few weeks, either they're sitting on the game, waiting for September, or they're only using it for polish. Which hopefully, it isn't polished. I don't want the game to come out and not run well or anything like
yeah.
that. But
I mean,
so
it's also one of those things too where this move update also spawned some controversy because apparently, which is, I'm actually surprised it's not in the doc. I didn't send the article to you because I was probably
yeah,
on lunch or something.
yeah,
But apparently, like Nintendo's in the midst of a huge lawsuit or like a quiet lawsuit about workers being overworked, and they kind of
oh
missed
yeah,
that whole wave of
yeah, crunch,
uh crunch and unionize. And apparently they actually crushed an attempt to unionize in one of their studios. Like
yeah,
they crushed it. So
interesting,
uh it's interesting, yeah, that this came up. Like this came up, and then a couple of days later, I saw that article floating around because people were like, that's funny that this game moved up, but then we're starting to see crunch articles and stuff like that, and
yeah,
lawsuits coming about. So I don't know, man.
yeah, that is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see if the game's ready. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be. I have faith in Monolith Soft. I think they generally are pretty. Their releases are pretty stable for the most part.
Yeah.
Not a ton of bugs, so I'm not super concerned about it. But um, the other thing you just reminded me, actually, there was another story going around about Nintendo. There's another lawsuit that they are a part of right now. I think in Europe, where they are getting looked at because of the auto renewal on the Nintendo Online service. Um,
Mm.
and I think they actually lost is what happened. So like the thing is there was a lawsuit brought against them because they automatically turn on auto renewal when you sign up for Nintendo Switch Online, and some country in Europe deemed that, on, I think it might have been the European Union, actually, like, deemed that illegal. That you can't do that. You have to tell people that you're doing that, or like you can't like, I think they might have even said you can't even do it, period. Like, people have to sign up for it on purpose. Like, you can't just sign them up for it without any consent or anything.
Okay.
So it is kind of an interesting thing because PlayStation does the same thing with PS Plus, as well, which is another subscription, of course. Um, I don't think Microsoft does it with Game Pass though, actually. So, which is an interesting wrinkle. But so something to pay attention to, because if it happens in Europe, I would expect them to do it worldwide to keep things simplistic throughout their
Yeah.
company, so they're not doing different things in different regions. Corporations don't like to do that generally, so that is something to monitor as well. But looking forward to Xenoblade Chronicles 3, man. We've been anticipating it for a while. Like, I've been anticipating this game for over a year, expecting it. So for it to finally be here or close to being here is very, 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 very exciting. So, all right, Montrell, let's move on. We got a couple more stories. This one is for me mainly. um, Stardock, who are the creators of the Galactic Civilizations series, and they also made Elemental, a series called Elementals. They're big on 4X strategy games, basically. The series they make, Galactic Civilizations, is a space 4X, space-based 4X. They also make a bunch of Windows add-ons that they use to modify the interface. They put features back in Windows that Microsoft took out that people don't want to lose, or they add enhancements and shit like that. Dude, their whole business is built off that shit, by the way. The games is like their little side hobby, basically, which is really funny. Their CEO, I think his name's Brad Wardell. He's spoken about it before. Like the games they make are like they're like fun little side projects for them. Like they're not like the primary thing the company does. So it's pretty funny. However, Galactic Civilizations is a well-known 4X game series for good reason. It's very good. Um, and they announced the Galactic Civilizations 4 is coming on April 26th, and this was kind of a out of nowhere announcement, at least for me. This happened last week on the 13th. I haven't been paying attention to this company or this series recently in recent years. Clearly, they've been working on it for a while, but so this is actually a really exciting freak announcement for me because I'm like, fuck, dude. I haven't played Gal Civ in years, and I'm like, Galactic Civilizations 3 was kind of a disappointment for me actually. When I played it back in the day, it just wasn't as good as two was for me largely. So I'm actually interested to dive into this, but I'm like, dude, it's literally 5 days from when we're recording right now, and I'm like, man, I can't. I don't have time for this, dude. Like, but I kind of want to do it, man. I haven't played a 4X in forever. Like Civ 6 was the last one I played, and that was like a year and a half ago at this point. Was the last time I played that. Um, so yeah, I might jump into this. It's only $40 as well, and it's but it is an Epic Game Store exclusive as well. So that is an interesting thing too. But um, they added some new features that I'm interested in that I'm very intrigued by. Something called multi-sector maps, which makes me think that the map has multiple galaxies in it or different sections of galaxies in it, and there's like a bunch of empty space in parts of the map, which is kind of an interesting concept. So I might check this out. If I do, I will let you guys know how it is. But if you're interested in 4X games, definitely one worth checking out for sure. All right, Montrell. Actually, have you ever played any 4X games like Civilization or Gal Civ or Stellaris or Endless Space,
Not,
Endless Legend, any of those?
unfortunately, not. I haven't.
Okay.
I know of them. Like I know of them.
Yeah.
But I haven't dove into one, unfortunately.
hmm Yeah, I mean they're very time consuming. They're usually extremely complicated and deep games too. So that's the reason I don't play them that much anymore. Is because it honestly can take you 100 hours before you really understand the game, and then you're like,
Shit.
and then you're like, okay, once you start kind of wrapping your head around things, you want to start over, and then you're in for another like 100-hour fucking match. Like these games are
Yeah.
insane, dude. Like they you can make them like ridiculously long 500-hour fucking epics, like crazy shit. So yeah, that's why I haven't played them as much in recent years because of that. They're also, I think, more fun in multiplayer than anything, and I just don't have a lot of friends that are willing to invest that kind of time into one of these, so that's my other issue. But
Okay.
all right, moving on. Final story this week. 2K and Gearbox have announced that they are working on a new Tales from the Borderlands game, and that is going to be coming this year in 2022. Tales from the Borderlands, for those of you who don't know, the first one was made by Telltale Games kind of in their heyday when they were making a bunch of games. This is like 2014, 2015. And it was probably their best game, period, that they had ever come out with, in my opinion. Like it was the one that I enjoyed the most out of all the ones they made. So and it was a total surprise for me because Borderlands, like it's not a series like known for its like super deep storytelling, but they managed to make a game that had a really compelling narrative and had really compelling characters. It was actually also genuinely really funny. It had a lot
Mm-hmm.
of comedy in it as well. That hit like well, like it did a good job. So
Yeah, I've heard a lot about just the Borderlands games in general, but especially Tales of the Borderlands, and then what was the one before that took place before Borderlands One?
Borderlands 2.
It,
No, so
well, no,
Tales from the Borderlands took place after Borderlands 2. Borderlands
okay,
2 is the game that really put Gearbox on the map in terms of Borderlands. Borderlands 1 is okay, it wasn't super well received. Like it was just kind of a mad game, like it was a cool concept.
yeah.
But Borderlands
I thought there
2
was
was it,
I thought there was a game that came out before Borderlands
Yes, the
3.
pre-sequel. Yeah.
Yeah.
became the
Okay. There you
pre-sequel,
go.
which was
Yeah.
took place before Borderlands 2. And it was all right. It wasn't terrible, but yeah, it was all right for the most part.
Yeah, and I just remember when Borderlands 3, because I went on like a deep dive on like how the community fared with the story and everything. Even though I never really participated in the story, I just wanted to look and see how everybody else thought about it. And everyone was like, "I kind of hate the way they wrote this person or this person." And
Yeah.
I went back and played like Borderlands 2 or played some of it, and then the relationships with what's his name? What's his name? Roland, I
Yeah,
believe.
Roland, Handsome Jack.
Yeah, like all
Yeah.
their relationships and stuff, the way they were talking to each other, like even though it was funny, they all had like a character depth to them and character arc.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of people were saying that depth of writing was missing from Borderlands 3 because they kind
Yes.
of missed the mark on what made Borderlands.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well, it's a Borderlands 2 is a game that has a surprisingly deep narrative. Like more than you would expect for what it presents as. But like you said, you have actual character arcs in that game. And then you have a villain in Handsome Jack who is like honestly one of the best written video game villains probably we've ever seen, in a game. But the thing is, they just couldn't recapture that. Like trying to follow that up was like they hit gold so hard with Handsome Jack that it was almost impossible for them to follow it up. And they couldn't. They failed. They tried to make the fucking villains for 3, and it just didn't work. Like they just weren't interesting at all, and they were totally shallow and annoying. Like they just so they're annoying characters. So it's funny how much Borderlands 2 has cast a shadow over the rest of the series, because I feel like it's something that they're always trying to reach for, is trying to get back to how good that game was, and they just can't get there, man. Like it's just like they just can't seem to get there, which is why I think Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is like stupid as that game's premise sounds. Like it in the context of Borderlands, it's actually the perfect place to take that franchise. Is like a random D&D campaign made up in Tiny Tina's brain. Like it's
well, I
ridiculous.
mean, I haven't
But
played Tiny Tina yet, but from what I hear, it's like it almost has that same feel, like the story, the way it's rolling and
yeah,
stuff like that,
yeah,
of like a Borderlands or Tales of the Borderlands feel. So I'm actually excited to play it.
yeah, me too, for sure. All right, Montrell. Well, that's all we have for news, man. It was a light week. There's not a ton going on that I felt was really worth talking about. So is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we go today?
No, actually, I don't have anything. Not today. I'll wait for next week. I thought I had a topic, but I'll wait for next week. It's
Okay.
been a rough week for me, so.
Fair enough. We'll keep it short and sweet. I'm sure we'll have a fucking 2.5 hour episode next week, guys. So don't worry about it. All right. Well, if you like this episode, please like the episode, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap4the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is it for us, guys. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next week. Bye.